Oh yeah, I almost just want to do it like
super high level. That's the move for
and
sure.
Just like for fun.
Yeah.
Like just more pure enjoyment.
Yeah. No.
It's recording.
No.
Oh, it's recording?
Yeah.
All right, welcome to the EchoCast. We have Nutrition Narc here.
Just say Blake, bro. Just say Blake.
Okay, we have Blake here. Well, I guess you should probably explain to them why you went by Nutrition Narc in the first place then.
All right, so first of all, everyone always asks me why that's my name, and it's for like two reasons specifically. One is because when I started my page, I didn't want anyone to find it. Like, I didn't want my real life friends to find it because that's embarrassing. Like, bro, you're putting yourself out there on the internet making like, trying to entertain people, like that's goofy until you start making money. So I didn't want people to find me, one, and then two, everyone else is Baxter Hosley Fit or, you know, whatever, something fit. Like, we gotta have some more creativity than that. So I wanted to do something like a little different, a nice little play on words. And the whole like premises behind it is, especially when I started, I was like, dieting doesn't have to be like hard, it doesn't have to be difficult, it doesn't have to be boring. So like if you got a boring diet, like if you got chicken, broccoli, rice, like I'm a snitch on you. Like, you know, like I'm a narc on you.
That's fair.
That was the whole like origin story of that.
So you don't like chicken, broccoli, and rice?
I like them in their own right, but not as like a cutting meal. The most micronutrient deficient, zero fat diet for cutting? No, I don't like it.
So you started off, did you start off doing lots of recipes and stuff like that, or was your content mainly geared towards something else in the beginning?
No, it was always like food, nutrition. Like, honestly, the majority of it was kind of just like diet choices. So like low calorie sauces, like good low calorie tasting, like diet hacks, stuff like that. Some recipes, some like, just like grocery store hauls, kind of a lot of food-based stuff, I would say.
Okay.
That was always, I didn't do like cars first and then switch. So it was always like gonna be food stuff, food nutrition stuff.
Gotcha. Fun fact for you guys. Back when I was still going by Joel Twynham on TikTok, under very, very, very low amount of followers, Blake did not realize that we were in a secret competition. I would check his profile almost every single day to see if my following was getting closer to his. He was at about 128,000, I believe, when I first discovered him. And I was
exact numbers. This is crazy.
Oh no,
he's got a vendetta. I was his nemesis, bro.
It wasn't as much a nemesis as it was like
a motivator.
Man, he's killing it.
Yeah,
like, and he's in the nutrition sphere, and I'm in the nutrition sphere.
Yeah,
and
no, 100%.
I mean, and I was like, blonde hair, blue eye. I was like, we're the same person.
There can only be one.
Had to take it over, but I was constantly following your stuff, trying to see if I could catch up to you. But one of the other things that I haven't even talked to you about yet is we had a conversation. It was, I can't remember if it was a year and a half ago or it was around there, and you started explaining to me how you were making money on social media. And it was completely different than what I was doing because my main avenue was coaching.
Yeah.
And then you started talking to me about how you were using social media to make money, and it was another area where I was like, oh, like maybe that's something I could get into. But I'd like you to explain to people, because my main avenue obviously is people will come to my Linktree, purchase coaching, phone consultations, stuff like that. At least that was how it was for a long period of time. But I'd like you to explain how you turned just posting content into something that was actually a legitimate moneymaker for you. Because if you don't know, I mean, he was an engineer, so like he left a pretty cushy lifestyle in order to do this.
Yeah, exactly. So I first started off as like I graduated college. I started off as a mechanical engineer. That was what my degree was in. So I worked as a design engineer for a little. But I actually started my page before I got like a full-time job.
Really?
So I remember starting my page, and my first video did well, and I think within a month I had like 10 or 20,000 followers. Dang. Yeah, it was super early TikTok days, so it was easy to grow. I would just post like garbage content, and it would get like, you know, 50K views, whatever. So I remember starting my page, and then maybe like a month or two later, I got a call from like one of the places I interned with that like didn't pay that well, and I was like, dang. And they wanted me to come back and work for them, and I was like, I would kind of like admit defeat if I would work for them, because I didn't really like, you know, it was just like a low-paying engineering job. And I remember going there, and I ended up like accepting it, and I went there. But at this time, I was still like making videos and everything, and I knew like right away, even before I had like 50K, I was like, I'm gonna make like this my job. Like one day, I'm gonna make like money out of it, because I've been like a social media kid my whole life. I've watched like YouTube, you know, like.
So that was the plan from the start for you.
Pretty much, yeah. it wasn't like it's not always about the money, but as soon as I saw a little bit of success and a little bit of growth, I just knew to like take full advantage of the opportunity and like never like waste it. So like since the first day I post, I've never missed a day of posting. Like, you know, since day one, never missed a day. I don't care what anyone says. Like I go, like if I'm out of service, I'll like schedule videos. I just like take it seriously because it's way better than a real job. So anyways, I went and started that job, worked there, and I think I left that job to go to like a better job at like maybe 50 or 75K. And I think right then I just started probably making money on social media. So it started with sponsorship. So it's first started with like the protein company I'm with, like P Science. This is the protein I've used like my kind of for the past like 5 or 6 years. So I always wanted to work with them anyways. So I eventually reached out to them and was like, yo, I'm a huge fan. Like what would it take to get on like the team or be like an athlete? And they basically denied me at first. And then I remember I signed up for like their affiliate program, one of those things where anyone can get a link on their website. And you would set up a link and then put it in your bio and you would get like $10 off the protein. I was like, oh, at least maybe I'll get like free protein out of this. And remember, I did that and I made a video that did really well. It got like a couple million views. It was a recipe video with the protein. It was like, oh, if you want this, you know, click the link in my bio. And I think I got over like 150 orders in a couple days, which was like back then it was insane. I was like freaking out. So that ended up being like, I don't know, like $3,000 worth of free protein there. And I was like, well, I don't really need $3,000 worth of free protein. So I hit them back up and was like, yo, can I like be an athlete? Like I clearly have proven I can sell. And they like onboarded me right away. It's like, oh yeah, here you go, blah, blah, blah. So that was nice. And then I started off just like commission only with them. And that was great for a while, and then my sales like slowly increased more and more as like people got to know me, people got to know the brand, they liked it, they bought it. And after a while I was like, yo, could I ever get like more commission? Like, you know, I'm kind of selling like a decent amount for you guys. Like, is there any like tier system or whatever? He's like, oh no, we don't do any more commission, but there's like, we can give you a salary. So they ended up giving me like a salary, which is great because that's like the best thing for, in my opinion, the best thing for like a social media creator, because that's like guaranteed money every month. You know what I'm saying? Like salary's like king. In my opinion, it doesn't fluctuate. So that was great. And then I would obviously keep pushing that protein. And then every couple months or so, as my sales would increase, I would come back and ask for more salary. And pretty much like every time they'd give it to me. Or they'd be like, oh, we need you to hit like this number for you to get a higher salary. Just then I would just like go hit that number and then it'd come back. So they increased my salary, I don't know, 5 or 6 times since then. So that was probably my main source of income through P Science Protein. And then on top of that, I would do kind of like one-off posts as well. Basically as much as I can get them. It's tough to get them like on a consistent basis because it's random. You know, brands fluctuate with their ad spending and everything. So basically what I would do when I got I left that first job to go to the second job. And at that second job, I was a assistant project manager for a construction company, making like normal salary. I made like 76 grand a year, like pretty solid salary for like a kid, lived at home, had like no bills, nothing, you know. Didn't have any expenses. So I worked that and did like my social media on the side. And because that job was like pretty chill, I had some downtime, I would just email brands and be like, yo, this is who I am, this is what I do, like, oh, this is what I do, like, you know, I'd love to try your product out, to, you know, give it a review for my followers. And pretty much like every single time they'd be like, yeah, and send out the product like right away within like an hour or so. So I ended up just getting like a ton of free product that way. And then from that I would try a bunch of different stuff, like protein bars, like protein snacks, like everything. And then companies that I really liked, I'd be like, yo, do you guys ever do any like paid posts or any like campaigns going on or any like promotions? And sometimes they would say yes, probably like 1 out of, I don't know, 20 or 30, they'd say yes. And then I would pick up some of those and charge them however much, you know, depending on my following. It would be, you know, back then it was only like $250 or whatever. And now I feel like I can get away with charging like right around like $2,500 for a paid product post, or like anywhere from like $1,500 to $2,500.
It's not bad.
No, not bad at all. And I know it sounds like a lot and a ton, and it is, but like usually I do maybe one a month. So like it's just tough to get those high quality ones on a consistent basis because like my inbox just gets flooded with like garbage, like Chinese dropship products. So like it's tough to get quality products. So that's like another source of income that I did. And at this time, I would say that was well into like my second job as an engineer. And I always wanted to quit like after a year of doing it to do social media full time. And I was like, all right, I'll be here for a year and then I'll quit and do that. And that gave me time to like build up obviously my like following and just build up the consistent like money coming in from social media. So I worked my like full-time job and then I would still upload like 5 or 6 videos a day. I think it was, about 5 videos a day. And I would do that every single day. You know, that's like pretty much all I would do is go to work, go to the gym and like make videos. And it was all in like preparation to like hopefully one day quit. So I think eventually like the year mark was coming up on my job. And at that point, I was probably making like $3 to $4 grand a month through social media. And at the time, I was pulling in like I think $42.66 every month for my engineering job after taxes. So I was like, okay, this is like pretty much like close enough. And I live at home, I have no bills, whatever, blah, blah. So after a year, I was like, I want to quit. I told my parents, obviously I lived with them at the time. I was like, it's time, like I quit. And they're like, they're like super kind of disappointed and like thought it was a big risk, thought it was like kind of dumb. They didn't even really like understand like where the money was coming from, like all this stuff.
Sure.
And I was like, it's not what I want to do, whatever. And so I remember, I just like pulled my boss in one day and was like, yo, can I talk to you? And I just basically told him everything. Like, oh, I got this like social media. It's like something I'm super passionate about. I'd love to, give it a shot.
Did he even know you had social media?
No. I don't. That's one thing I don't talk about, like social media in like real life. It's like, because then the people like pull up and watch your videos in front of you. Like that's so awkward. Like,
Yeah.
Nah, you don't need to know. So no, he had no idea. No one in the office knew. So I told him about that one day, and he's like, oh, I totally get it. He was a cool guy. He's like, I totally get it, and just like wished me the best of luck. And then I quit, and obviously, like, I remember that first day, like, not going to work that next Monday, and I was like, dude, I have so mumuch time. Like, what did I do? Like, it felt so weird.
Right.
To, like, not have to go to a job, like, 8 to 4 every single day.
Yeah.
And I just had nothing but time. And in retrospect now, I wish I had quit sooner, because, like, obviously,
Right.
as soon as I quit, it just, accelerated growth, my quality, quantity, everything got so much better. And I was like, oh, I really wish I quit sooner and took advantage of, like, the early days of TikTok where growing was like incredibly easy. Yeah. Obviously I can't complain now, but that's kind of like,
Of course.
Well, that was came from.
And that's where I think a lot of people actually do make a mistake, is they quit very early.
Really?
Because I've seen people there who say, yeah, I quit my 9 to 5 in order to become a full-time influencer, but they do it with zero proof of concept.
Okay, yeah.
And
how many followers are we talking?
We're talking like
Sub
a few
10K?
thousand.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty crazy.
But the thing is that, and they weren't making any real money from it in the first place.
Yeah.
So it's like, and that's one of the things that I've tried to explain to people is you don't need to quit your job in order to become an influencer.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, if you're wanting to become an influencer, you need proof of concept. You need to show yourself, and you need to put in the work in order to show that you're actually capable of turning this passion of yours into a viable income source. So if you notice with him, it was constantly, he was pushing for the next thing. He would email 20 to 30 people and maybe one was a viable option.
Yeah.
He would take and he would say, hey, look, like, these are the numbers that I've been bringing in. Can I get more because of this? These are the things that a lot of people don't think about. They think if they just create content, just get followers, that they'll be making money. Most people don't realize that the majority of people on TikTok who have even a few 100,000 followers, it's getting better over time as sponsors are reaching out to people. But there's a lot of people out there who are just either scraping by or not even pretending they are.
I know people with a million followers who have a day job.
It's
like they're like
crazy.
And I tell them like how much I make or whatever. And they're like, oh, how do you do that? I can't believe it. Like I was like, oh, you just gotta get better at monetizing. Like, and lucky for us, we are in an incredibly easy niche to monetize compared to like comedy or something incredibly general.
Right. And the problem is this though: you refer to it as easy, but just think about all the stuff you just listed that you were doing day in, day out in order to make it happen. Most people are not willing to, or they just don't even know where to start when it comes to that aspect. Yeah. And
how many people do you know ask you for advice about like how to grow a page and then they post for 2 weeks and then stop?
Exactly.
Every 99% of them, no one ever sticks to it. How many people do you know who have made content for over a year, post every single day, and improve the quality that are not that are not an influencer?
Right.
Like zero, because they'll get there if they are. Like if they just do those steps, like they'll get there.
Well, even the simple fact of what you were talking about reaching out to all these companies and then just taking rejection. Yeah. Taking rejection, but continuing to reach out for that one. Yeah. For that two. It's like, okay, and like you were willing to put in that work and that leg effort because you saw that there would be some return eventually. Yeah. I can tell you right now, the majority of people don't put themselves out there at all. Yeah. They just think that they'll stumble into it. They think that it'll just be something that comes to them. And it was something that I actually noticed when, so there were lots of people that would ask me, because I was a collegiate athlete, there's a lot of people that would ask me, they'd be like, oh, how do you get a scholarship as a collegiate athlete? I'm like, okay, well, one, you have to be good enough. Yeah. Like, but there are a lot of people that are good enough that don't get scholarships. So it's like, why is that happening? And I said to them, you have to reach out. Like, the coach isn't going to be at your high school game just randomly. Yeah. It's like, you have to put in the legwork. You have to reach out to tens, dozens, unless you're somebody that is making so much buzz that people are going to be drawn to you. Like, you could be doing very well and just get overlooked. So you have to be putting in that legwork in the background. And that's what you did. Yeah. Like, you didn't wait for a sponsor to come to you. You reached out to them.
Yeah. And that was another thing, like you said, with the like the salary. I would always ask, I'd be like, yo, what do I need to do to get the next salary? I would never say, can I qualify for the salary? I'd be like, what numbers would you like to see to have my salary bumped up? Because you want to come at it as like a place of like, what can I do? Not like I deserve it. You know what I'm saying? So I'd always ask in like that sort of tone and be like, what would you like to see? Like, how can I better represent the brand? Or do you need like other stuff? Do you need social media posts? Do you need like content? Kind of just like anything I can do. And a lot of times, like, think about it, if you were a business owner and if like someone came to you like really trying to put in that effort and was like, what can I do to help you out and like make like the company better, you'd be like, oh, you'd see that as like super valuable and you'd give them probably some tips and
Yeah. And you and I found it interesting because you always found ways to, obviously you aren't with the supplement aspect of Ecovision, but you still found a way to bring value to the company so that you could join in with the clothing side. Yeah. Like there's always this next level effort that you're putting in order to make things happen. And there's a vision in the end as to what it can be. And you're actually executing a plan. And I don't know if that comes from, if that's just been a regular part of your mindset your whole life, but what you refer to as easy is not easy for a lot of people. And I think a lot of people think that it's simply about getting the followers. Yeah. And they think it will just translate into money. Automatically. But
you're right. Like I could have this many followers. I could have the exact same followers right now and I could make $0 if I didn't put in the other effort. You know what I'm saying? Like the back end stuff.
Exactly. And that's been really cool to watch. But overall, what would you say is the biggest thing that somebody who's looking to start up, other than things we've already talked about, what would you say is the biggest thing that people overlook in terms of growing their social media platform in a way that's actually going to be conducive to sales in the long run?
Conducive to sales. Oh, that's an easy one. Definitely, like, do not make your page about your lifts unless you're the strongest of all time. Don't make your page about your physique unless you're the biggest, the leanest of all time. No one cares about your, 225 bench. No one cares about your 5'8", 165 physique because no one cares about mine either. You have to provide more value. You have to provide some sort of like personality, some sort of comedy, some sort of humor. Because there's already like a million people out there that do that. Like no one's impressed by that. And I see so many people getting into like their starting their page and doing that. And it's like, no one cares. You have to do something different. You have to provide like some sort of value in a different way or provide education like you do, an extremely high level education or like humor. That would be one advice. The other thing I would say is like never stop posting. Like if you want to try, post every single day for 2 years, then come back to me and say, oh, I failed. Like, post every single day and then try to make each video better than your last. Yeah. And then again, another thing is post on all platforms. I post on like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, Facebook, blah, 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 because you never know which video is going to do well. And you're already doing the hard work of posting, or you're already doing the hard work of making the video and editing it. Might as well do the easy work of posting it everywhere because you never know what happens.
You were actually the person that got me cross-platforming more often.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because I was only like putting things on TikTok and you're like, why would you not just take it over to Instagram too? And it took a while for things to build up, but eventually my Instagram platform actually became viable because of just like, I very rarely make Instagram videos. I make TikTok videos and just cross-platform all the time.
What's hilarious is I probably told you that before I did it myself because I only recently started doing it like 3 months ago, and the same thing. Like it was really slow to start, and it's like, dang, this sucks uploading this with like getting no likes, and now it's like obviously better than ever, and it's like, whoa, this is like now a viable, like you were saying, a viable platform. I've got like you have your own community over there as well, like completely different from over here. Like, if, like, so let's say you have 300,000 followers over here and 100 over here. That's still 100 extra. That's still 400 total or whatever. So more people that can buy and use your code and get to know you.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh man, I have so many more questions I want to ask you, but we are running short on time. So we'll definitely have Blake back in to talk us through a little bit more. Maybe explain to you how he's how his Lambo is doing, or you two Lambos
Two
now.
Lambos.
Two Lambos.
Terrible, by the way. Broken. No, one finished yesterday. One got fixed.
Okay, well, regardless, I'm sure a lot of you guys would be interested to hear some of that stuff. So, Blake, thanks for coming in.
Yeah, anytime.
Do you have a sign off?
I'm Narc out. And I do not have a sign up. I don't have an outro. There's Minecraft theme music or something.
Minecraft.
You should do a podcast like talking about yourself. Like I should be asking you these financial questions and not every